Welcome back to Harmony Yoga. My name is Julie Farmer, and I love teaching all levels of students a basic yoga practice. It's been a while since I've been with you. Going through grief is something that feels a little bit isolating. Sometimes you feel like maybe what I have to share today, you might not be interested. But as we close out the year, we hear all these things about how bad 2020 has been, and I agree, right? It was a year of transition, and particularly a year of loss for us, a really big loss. And so many of you I know are in the same situation. I know so many people who have lost loved ones this year. And so I just would ask for you to sit up nice and tall and begin to close the eyes, turning inward, and just find what comes up for you when we talk about the year 2020. And I think just paying respect to those things that maybe we have lost, the grief that we've felt that comes from all kinds of things, not just loss of a loved one, but loss of the freedom that we used to enjoy, or loss of friendships that aren't quite as rich because you can't be together. So whatever comes up for you in 2020, can we just sit in that for just a moment, take a couple deep breaths here, and just recognizing really the shadow side of 2020. Long, slow, steady inhale and long exhale. Almost like you're sitting in the remnants of the year. Many of you have given thought to this already as we begin to transition to the new year. There is a chance for a restart, right? A new opportunity, a year full of hope. And isn't it every year we look to the new year for a new beginning, and we have a sense of hope? And then the year unfolds, and of course there's disappointments. Life doesn't go the way we think it's supposed to go, and we learn to be resilient, right? We learn that we are stronger than we thought we were. We discover things about ourselves we never knew in the midst of our loss or disappointment. And so now, can you shift your awareness away from the shadow side and into the bright side of the things that you've learned and the things that you've benefited? I know our family feels a resilience and a strength that we didn't know we had, and but we experienced in the face of loss. I've learned about different systems that can maybe come into place when things don't quite go as they should. And all the while, we learn to let go to the attachment of how things are supposed to go, and we step into that face of how things are. And many of you who have been practicing yoga with me a long time know that I really enjoy, rather than picking a resolution for the new year, I enjoy picking a word. And the word last year that came to me was adventure, knowing that we were going to be moving across the country away from all of our family and friends and embarking on this new adventure. That seemed more than appropriate. And what I found is the adventure that I thought it was going to be is different than what it turned out to be. Because of the pandemic and because of the people that I've met here, the adventures have been so unique and so rewarding. And so today I took my last adventure, snow hiking, with some wonderful friends that I've made here, and enjoyed the day so much. Just beautiful, beautiful surroundings, and beautiful snowfall, and lots of laughter and sharing on our hike. We can do that here, social distanced, in a safe way. And so that has been a salvation for us during this pandemic, all the places to be outside here in Utah. And so we move forward into the new year, and we think back of how the word maybe that we picked last year, how that turned out to be. And with hope and anticipation, we look forward to a new year and a new word. So what are you leaning into for next year? And what are you saying goodbye to this year that's been really beneficial for you? So all of that is a way for us to get grounded and to get present with ourselves here. As we start to move in our practice, I invite you to take one more deep clearing breath and then move yourself to a standing position, placing your block at the front of your mat. And with the breath, inhaling, lifting the heart, lifting the arms in this hopeful anticipation of what's to come, and releasing the sadness or the loss of this year with the exhale. Going back and forth here. Feel free to separate your feet hips width apart and even bend your knees here so you really feel the weight into your legs. Moving the hips back and then scoop the tailbone down. Do one more here. Good, and exhaling down. Come to the front of your mat. Again, feet are hips width apart. Facing forward. Inhale one more time, lifting up. Exhaling, coming down, finding your block. So especially when we get started here, having a block or even a chair will help open the hamstrings so we don't overstretch, lifting the sitting bones up toward the sky. And if you had a tail, it's like the tail is trying to reach up toward the sky. Slowly releasing the spine, the neck, and the head. That maybe if your hamstrings are tight, it feels better to straighten your arms here and keep your spine straight with the crown of the head reaching toward the wall in front of you. Go back and forth here with your breath. As we go through our practice here, we're just noticing the sensations that come up. And because of the hike I was just on, it's a little bit different in the snow with the hills and the slope. I'm going to feel a little bit different in my body today. So maybe you've just done something too that your body is a little out of whack. So this yoga practice can help bring the sensation there. Bring the breath. Let's do one more time. Inhale up and exhale, releasing as far down as it feels comfortable for you as you keep lifting the sitting bones to the sky. And then inhale the right leg back to deep lunge. Move the left foot up between your hands and move your hips here side to side. One of the things I love is being able to feel the difference between your right and left side. So step the right foot forward again, coming back into that pranam, lifting up and exhaling, releasing down into forward fold. Just notice if you feel a difference between your right and left legs. And then step the left leg back, bending into the front knee. Your knee is directly over the ankle, moving the hips here side to side. Okay, so being with you here today makes me realize how much I've missed doing this. I've been true to my practice, but it felt like it was a little more introspective, and sometimes we need that, right? So no problems there. Good. Now step back to downward facing dog. Rotate the pit of your elbow, the inside of the elbow, spreading the fingers wide and rotating that pit forward. And then look at the creases of your wrists. See if you can make the creases parallel to the front of your mat. And then again, lifting up the hips. You can keep a bend in the knees. Push down through the fingertips. Rotate again, the elbow crease forward. Push your hands away from you so your heart comes back, maybe the belly comes back towards your thighs. You can stay here or you can begin to lift the hips. The legs may straighten. Can you lift and separate all the toes, pressing down through the ball of the big toe and separate your little toes out to the side? Good, and come forward to child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touching. Sit your hips back. You've got options here. You can stay, well, let me just say this. You can stay upright with your hips and release the forehead. That's a puppy dog. If that's okay on the knees, to start moving the hips back. Stretching back, reaching the arms forward, or stacking the forearms, resting the forehead. Or you can even make this double fist and rest your forehead on your double fist, or even on your block. So right now, let's feel ourselves just release. Release any holding, any tension, any expectation. One more deep breath in and out, coming back up to your downward facing dog. Deep breath in and out. This time imagine through those spread fingertips, you're going to draw the energy up from the earth, up your arms, and then over the hips and down the legs on the exhale. Do that one more time. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, send that breath down the back of your legs. Good, and slowly walk to the front of your mat. One more time. We're going to inhale, lift up, and exhale, release down. One more time. Inhale, and exhale. Notice if you're starting to open up through the back of the legs. This time, step your left leg back, right foot forward, so the knee is right over the ankle, the back leg, the back heel stretches back, and then drop that back heel down. Come upright. Lift the arms up to the sky and inhale, hug the legs together, hug the arms toward one another, but you don't have to bring the hands together. You can pretend you're hugging into a block here. Good, and bring the hands down. Wiggle the foot forward just a couple inches and then pull back on the toes, dragging the heel back, but the heel really doesn't work, doesn't slide back because it's on the sticky mat. And then inhale, lift the head and heart forward. Stay there. If that's quite a stretch for you, stay there. Otherwise, with a straight spine, can you start to drop the heart? So not dropping the head, that's a lot of strain on the neck, just reaching the heart. Pushing through the ball of the big toe like you're stepping on the gas. Pull back more on the heel. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Plant the foot back down. Inhale, lift both hips, so both legs straight. Inhale, lift the head and heart again, and release the heart just as much or as little as it feels good for your hamstring, your spine. Pushing down through the ball of the big toe here. And then step back to downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Hugging in. And exhale, bend the elbows. Oops, I didn't move my block. So lower down to the belly. And then rotate the shoulders up and away from the floor. Walk the legs back. Drag the hands back, lift the head and heart forward. Pushing down through the tops of the feet, elbows tuck in by the side. Curl the toes under. Lift back to down dog. Lift the left leg up to the sky. Swing it through up between your hands. And drop the back knee down. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. Hugging in. Inhale, hug in, and exhale, extend out. Reach up through the heart, through the hands. Notice if the breath starts to shorten. Without forcing the breath, just allow it to elongate. Good. Exhale the hands down. Wiggle the foot forward, pull the toes back, pull the heel back. Move the hips out to the left, and then drag the left hip back, right hip forward, and push through the ball of the big toe. Extend up through the spine, through the crown of the head, and then exhale, let the heart come down if that feels comfortable. So we know that when we force, we actually create a little restriction in the body, really in the mind and the spirit as well. So we always want to allow the body to guide the way, or to lead, the breath leads the way into the body, I should say. So using that breath. Slowly bring that foot back down. Lift both hips now. Again, you can push the hips out to the left, left hip back, right hip forward. Push down through the ball of the big toe. Reach the crown of the head forward. Nice job. Go ahead and step back all the way into forward fold at the back of your mat. And then roll the mat. You're going to step off the mat. Roll it as tight as you can. If you have a firm mat, you don't have to roll quite as far. If yours is a little bit thinner, that'll be kind of a good place to stop. Okay, placing the right foot on top of the mat. We want to focus now on elongating the spine, rotating the shoulders back, and taking this little hyoid bone. We're going to take that throat back. Good. You can keep your hands on your hips. You can reach them overhead, or you can even use a chair or something for balance here. That's fine too. So little by little, we're going to walk this left foot forward, and maybe it even comes across to the front of the mat. Maybe it comes even a little bit forward. And then you can even bend into the left leg. So we're stretching out the right calf, bending into the right leg. It's kind of hard to bend when you're in this position, but when you bend, you get into a different set of muscles in your lower leg. It's a little bit deeper. Good. Bring your hands to your hips now, straightening both legs. Reach the heart forward. Good. Inhale, lift. Step the left foot onto the mat. Right foot, you can step it back first, reaching the heart. And then slowly letting that foot come forward. If it feels comfortable to step forward, do so. Again, hands on the hips, reaching the crown of the head forward. Good, and come up and slightly bend into the left knee, stretching those muscles a little bit deeper. Good, now step both feet onto the mat, the ball of both feet, hands on the hips again. You got a sneeze coming. And then pushing the hips back, reach the crown of the head forward. Just notice what's going on now here versus a regular forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, and exhale down. Good. Maybe your hands come to the floor, to the block, or you can keep them on your hips. Good. Step yourself off the mat. Let it naturally unroll. Step all the way forward, find your block. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release down. Inhale all the way up to the sky. Interlace your hands, push your palms forward and up. And then lean over to the right, push down through your left foot, really extending through the left side body, up to the sky and over to the other side. Push down through your right foot. One more deep breath in and up. Release the hands now behind the back. Interlace the hands, push the knuckles into the low back, rotate the shoulders back. Staying here, or you can always grab a strap. If your shoulders are tight, then just give yourself that little extension by grabbing the strap. Either way here, go ahead and straighten the arms if that feels comfortable, folding over if your body allows it. Inhale halfway up if you're down, reaching back down. Inhale, come up. So let's do that whole sequence on the other side. Now interlacing your hands the opposite way, push the palms forward, stretching through the upper back and reaching the arms up toward the sky. Exhaling over to the right, pushing down through the left foot, up to the sky, over to the left, push down through the right foot. Good, up to the sky, release the hands, now interlacing the opposite way, knuckles into the low back. Again, you can grab your strap. You can do that whole sequence with the strap. Straightening the arms if that feels okay. Keep the ribs back, and then coming into a forward fold if that feels okay. Coming halfway up and exhale down. Good. Inhale all the way up now. Okay, so let's go around one more time for a sun salutation. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And exhale, come down, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale down. Right leg back to deep lunge. This time we're gonna come up with both the back legs straight, bend into the front knee. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Bring your hands to the heart and turn. So your right elbow comes over your left knee, separating your elbows, pressing the hands together here. Now, if you need to, you can drop the back knee down. I tell you, a challenge is to bend and straighten the back leg. Can you stay hugging in so much that you can bend and straighten the back leg? And then in any position that you find yourself, just step back to down dog. Let's go forward again to plank. This time I'll move my block. So we've got a long line of energy here from the heels all the way up through the crown of the head. And then bend the elbows, slowly lower down. Untuck your toes, shoulders come up and away from the floor. This time we're going to reach the fingertips back toward the heels. Look ahead of you to the wall ahead. So you're not looking down and you're not looking up toward the sky, straight ahead. Lift up, press down through the feet, lift the chest. Reach the hands down, push back to child's pose. So remember here in child's pose, you've got options. You can be in puppy dog. You can shift your hips back, resting the forehead on the ground, the stacked arms, the stacked fists, or your block. Come up onto the fingertips. If your arms are outstretched, lifting the outer armpit, trying to bring your fingertips toward you. You're dragging them on the sticky mat. And then plant the hands down, lift up to down dog, lifting the right leg up to the sky, bring that foot all the way up and through, and rise. Bending into the front knee, inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Bringing the hands to the heart, rotate left elbow over right knee, pressing into the hands. And again, if the challenge is to bend and straighten, or if you need to, just bend that back knee and stay down. Good, hands to the mat, step forward, forward fold. Drop your hips, taking your toes out toward the sky, toward the sides if you need to. Set your hips down. Bring the soles of your feet together. Press your hands into the earth behind you. Lift and open the heart. Focusing in on the blessings of 2020. So we leave in gratitude. We leave the year behind us in gratitude for all the lessons that we've learned and the beauty that there may have been for you. So we can move forward with an open heart to the next year. Now open your eyes, open your legs. You might want to spin on your mat sideways. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to sit your hips onto a folded blanket. This is an example. So for me, or for you, maybe you even want to go a little bit higher. And this is really all you need because your hips are just going to sit right on the edge here. So you can choose to use a blanket or not. Feel free to pause the video. That's the beauty of the video, right? Stop. Go grab a blanket if you don't have one. And I've just kind of kept this one right nearby because it is comfortable to lay over if I need a little blanket to lay under, or in this case, to sit your hips up. So I'll go ahead and join you on the blanket so you can see that I'm going to come forward. So the blanket's really just moving the flesh out of the way, which is the inner spiral, right? That's all the same thing. When we talk about moving the thighs back, this is a healthy position for the thighs to be in. My thighs are firmly grounded to the earth. So actually this posture, we think the important thing is to be able to lay our head on the floor, which I would say the majority of us never will be able to do that. So that's not the ambition. The goal is to find freedom in this case, in our thighs, our hips, our spine, so we can stay upright here, knees and toes facing the sky. Lift and engage the toes, and if you haven't been able to grasp a hold of that concept, you can sometimes use your fingers too. If you separate those, sometimes your toes will go along with that. So think about all the nerve endings in your feet and your hands, the message that has to come from your brain, lift and separate. Over time, it starts to happen. Trust me, I couldn't move my feet like this when I first started yoga, but over time, my beautiful teacher kept saying it's about the action, not about what you see, but about what's really happening in the body. So allowing the messaging to come down, and even if you needed to kind of manipulate your toes, open the toes with your hands, you start to make those connections, right? And we become familiar with the sensation. So inhaling now, the breath comes up through the spine, the heart's lifted, the crown of the head is lifted. From here, perhaps you start to fold forward, right? And maybe you start to feel a deeper sensation here. But notice if you can keep the spine straight. If you start to curve the spine by dropping the head, again, it's just like what we were doing at the earlier part of class, right? It's too stressful on the neck and the shoulders. We want that spine, we're trying to create this muscle memory of the long spine, right? With good curves, the curves that we were born with. So then maybe we come forward, maybe we don't. Maybe you walk your hands forward. And if we play with the breath, inhaling, lifting, we kind of reconnect to that alignment. And then exhale, we see if our ego gets in the way and starts to push us out of alignment, or if we can stay right here. Now a stacked set of pillows or blankets or even a chair is also an awesome thing to come forward. I didn't bring that into the picture here, but again, feel free to pause the video and go grab a chair, and don't even start the video yet, and just find yourself in this position as long as you like, and then you can restart the video when you're ready. Does that sound like a good idea? So this is your practice. That's the beauty of this. You can stop and start the video and take your time in each of those postures as it feels comfortable for your body. So taking another comfortable breath here. And then let's bring the sole of the left foot into the right inseam, the right hand down the inseam of your right leg, and the left hand onto the left hip. Turn like you're trying to look over the left shoulder. Maybe this is your posture right here. Keep the feet engaged on the right foot here, and then left arm can come up to the sky or over. Stay with the breath here. Inhaling, exhaling. Just notice the breath starts to get a little jaggedy sometimes. We're in this odd position. The diaphragm isn't as free to move like it normally is, but see if you can stay with those long, steady breaths anyway. Just noticing the sensation. Good. Coming up, and then rotate your hands one on each side of your right leg and slowly walk yourself down. At any point, you can move your hips off the blanket. Notice when you bend one leg, the pose is not as intense as if we did a regular forward fold or the wide-legged, right, with one leg bent. So maybe it feels a little bit easier to come over the right leg. But again, we're not forcing here. Lift the spine. Exhale, we're thinking about the heart moving toward the thigh and the head really moving beyond the foot. If that gives you a little idea of the action within the pose. Good, and come upright. Let's switch to the other side. Right foot into the left inseam. Left hand down the inseam of your left leg. Right hand onto the hip and just turn and look over the right shoulder. That might be your posture right here. If that feels like a nice position for you, stay there with the breath, or you can reach the right arm up to the sky and gently lean over. I can tell you there's some tender places that we get into in this posture. So you want to be really respectful and we don't force ourselves. Sometimes people will do this pose with a strap, and that's not wrong, but if you did that, what you want to make sure is that you're not using the strap to pull yourself into an unnatural position. So you'll see me do it both ways. You're welcome to use the strap always. Good, and releasing down. Bring both feet out in front. Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Keep the left leg long, right leg bent. I knew I forgot something. So walk both your hands on both sides of the left leg. Inhale, lift the spine, and exhale, fold over the left leg. You may find a difference between your right and left side. You've heard me say that before. Just notice that. Sometimes what people do, if one side is really tighter than the other, maybe you do one side on the side that's not, or one time on the side that's not so tight, and kind of go back and forth to the side that's a little tighter, and that may help create a little more balance. But it's nothing to be alarmed about. We're very asymmetrical in what we do. Feet out in front, press the heels down so the knees slightly bend. Reach the arms up to the sky. So we create that whole length from the sitting bones all the way up to the fingertips. Can you keep that and just push your hips back and reach your arms? Here I'm like at a diagonal. You may even stay upright, but can you keep the spine long and let the movement come out of the hips? And again, can you kind of oscillate or undulate with the breath? Inhaling, lifting, exhaling, releasing, maybe lowering, maybe not. Maybe you find your feet, maybe you use the strap, right? Make this practice your own, what feels right for you here. Good. Slowly come up, rotate around, lower down onto your back, and press the elbows underneath you. Walk the feet in, press the hands down, and then slowly lift your hips up. So this is a bridge posture, and by lifting the hips, we are pushing into the feet. If you lift and separate your toes again, feel the ball of the big toe, the inner heel, the ball of the little toe, and the outer heel, and then press all four corners of the feet down. Maybe you get a little greater lift here, like you're trying to push your feet away from you and then scoop your tailbone toward your knees. Walk your shoulders underneath you here, looking straight up to the sky, pressing the back of the head down, breathing in and out of the soft palate. Slowly release yourself down to the earth. Release your legs by straightening. Let your feet naturally flap out to the side, and then turn your arms so palms are face up. So you're not just flipping the hands, the whole arm. And you can even bring your arms out a little bit of ways from your hips if that feels more comfortable than right next to your hips. Close the eyes. Feeling the sensation of the breath in the body. Feel the pulsation of the heartbeat, the rhythm of the breath as it starts to slow down. You'll start to feel the body temperature start to slow down or to lower. So you've got your blanket handy. Perhaps you can lay that over you. Feel the support of the earth beneath you. Allow your heart to become expansive through the shoulders, creating a cradle of support for the heart. The heart opens, and let that heart fill with gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons learned of the year. Gratitude for the blessings that are true blessings, not in disguise, right? Sometimes our blessings are very apparent, and sometimes those blessings come in unique ways. Open your heart to all of those. Feeling that breath move all the way through the body. Bringing your awareness back to the breath. To the rise and fall of the belly with each inhale and exhale. And let that breath go all the way down to your feet, all the way down to your fingertips, and up through the crown of the head. Slowly begin moving the hands and the feet. We reawaken the body that's rested here. Slowly bring the feet down and the knees up. And then when you're ready, hug the knees into the chest. Push the knees away. Hug the knees back in and rock here side to side. Rotating onto your side, your right side, and then pushing up with your left hand. Coming back to a seated position. Sitting up onto your block or your blanket. And I'll leave you with these words from Daily Om. Sometimes we need to step back from what occupies our minds and take a break, much like touching the reset button. Giving yourself respite from the daily concerns is giving yourself a gift. Stepping away from the problems and trying to see the gifts. So as we say goodbye to 2020, we bring our hands together in front of the heart, and I offer you a blessing for the new year so we can bring the gifts of 2020 forward and move forward with hope and with faith and with grace into the new year. Thank you for being with me today. Blessings. Happy New Year.